This show is about a former chemistry teacher with terminal cancer who starts making and selling meth to support his family. We start with a flash forward where Walter, in a desolate, abandoned house, digs up a vial of ricin. This moment sets the stage for all the chaos to come. Fast forward to the present, Walt's brother-in-law, Hank, starts connecting the dots between Walt and the mysterious meth empire and finds out Walt's hidden identity as Heisenberg, the mastermind behind the meth empire. Meanwhile, Jesse's guilt over his role in the business intensifies as more people die. He's overwhelmed with remorse and, out of frustration, throws away the money he's made from the meth business, scattering it in a random residential neighborhood. On top of all this, Walt's cancer returns, and Hank's getting closer to uncovering the truth. Walt confronts Hank, who punches him and accuses him of being Heisenberg. Walt's warning to Hank? Tread lightly. He then buries his drug money in the desert. Feeling the walls close in, Walt offers to surrender himself as long as his family can keep the money. But his wife Skylar advises him to stay quiet, pointing out that Hank has no solid evidence. Meanwhile, Walt offers Jesse money to leave town for good and start fresh. At first, Jesse agrees, but when he discovers that Walt killed his girlfriend's son, he goes into a fit of rage. Jesse breaks into his house, dousing it with gasoline, but Hank stops Jesse from burning the house down. Walt tries to reach Jesse but gets no response. Frustrated and wanting Jesse out of the way, he turns to Todd and Jack, members of a ruthless criminal gang, for help. They agree, but only on one condition. Walt must cook meth one last time so Todd can learn. With no other choice, Walt reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, Hank and Jesse team up to take Walt down. They trick him into believing his hidden money has been found and is about to be destroyed. Panicked, Walt races to the desert where he buried the cash and calls Jack for backup. But when he sees Hank and Jesse, Walt orders his men to stand down. The scene shifts into full chaos as a brutal shootout breaks out between Jack's crew and Hank. To save Hank's life, Walt offers cash as a trade. But in the cruelest twist, Jack executes Hank, leaving Walt shattered. Jack's gang digs up all of Walt's buried money, but leaves one barrel behind for Walt. They then takes Jesse hostage, beating and torturing him, forcing him to cook meth for them. When Skylar finds out about her brother's death, she loses it and demands that Walt leave the family. Their argument escalates into a violent struggle, prompting their son to step in and call the police to protect his mother. Walt manages to escape, but still wanting to shield Skylar, he takes a call that's being monitored and takes full blame for everything. With the help of his lawyer, he vanishes under a new identity and relocates to a remote cabin in New Hampshire. Meanwhile, Jesse tries to escape Jack, but is caught and punished. As a brutal reminder of who's in control, they force him to watch Todd murder his girlfriend. Months later, Walt is living alone in his cabin, disheveled and full of regret. He calls his son, but he hangs up after wishing death upon his father. In a fit of despair, Walt calls the DEA and prepares to turn himself in, but not before threatening and forcing his former business partners to promise to give his money to his son when he turns 18. Afterward, he visits Skylar and hands her crucial info that could help her secure a plea deal, finally admitting that despite claiming he did it all for his family, he was really just fulfilling his own ego. The series reaches its explosive climax as Walt drives to Jack and Todd with a rigged machine gun in the trunk. Jack brings Jesse in from the lab to show him to Walt. In a sudden move, Walt tackles Jesse to the ground to protect him and then sets off the M60, which tears through Jack's crew, leaving only Todd and Jack alive. Jesse wastes no time strangling Todd, while Walt puts a bullet in Jack's head, shutting him up for good. Walt then hands Jesse the chance to take him out, but Jesse refuses. With one last look between them, Jesse speeds off in Todd's car, crying in relief. Walt, now fatally wounded, takes a final, almost nostalgic glance around the meth lab before collapsing. Moments later, the police arrive to find Heisenberg's story has finally come to an end. So that's it for the finale. It's clear the writers put in the effort to wrap things up in a way that wouldn't disappoint their loyal fans. This season is often praised as the best, and for good reason. It has everything. The plot is intense, and every character gets a satisfying conclusion. Although season 1 started off a bit slow, the show gradually built momentum, with each season surpassing the last and culminating in an unforgettable finale. And let's talk about the acting. It's absolutely top tier. Bryan Cranston's portrayal of Walt is so impressive that it's hard to believe he's the same actor who played the goofy dad in Malcolm in the Middle. At the heart of it all, Walt was just a man working 2 jobs, running out of time, trying to provide for his family. But somewhere along the way, he took a dark turn and truly broke bad. Still, there were moments where he broke good too. So what do you guys think about the series? Let's chat in the comments.